Once you're already in Moab, Captain Ahab is pretty easy to get to. I just used one of the Trail Finder apps on my cell phone. It's Moab, so all the trails are prominently marked and documented. The trail to the top of Ahab is called Himasa. There is no parking at the Himasa trailhead. You'll get to a big parking area for some other trails, right up the road about a half mile, and turn off the road at the Himasa trailhead. When you see the sign for the intersection with Himasa, go left, down the hill, and cross Cane Creek. Don't turn right. That just goes back to the trailhead. Yes, once you cross the creek, you'll come across a jeep road with big scary jeeps on it. Keep climbing that road until you see the signs for Captain Ahab telling you not to climb it, and the other sign telling you that you're at the bottom of Himasa. Himasa is a sandstone climb with a few challenging sections that will force most riders off their bikes. This area is all exposure, so the views are great all around. One word of warning though, I sunburned my calves on this ride, as they were the only part of my body I missed with the sunscreen that wasn't covered by pads or sleeves. So, cover all exposed skin. This is the desert. The air is thin and the sun is strong. The climb isn't too taxing, and the entire loop only nets about 1,400 feet of total climbing in 9.5 miles. That 1,400 feet can feel like a lot more at this elevation if you're not used to it. There is no loose anything on the climb or the descent, just acres and acres of exposed sandstone. The ride up Himasa peaks at a ledge overlooking Schaefer Basin and what appears on Google Earth to be a potash processing facility. Then you're on Captain Ahab. This is a good lunch spot and about the halfway point, but keep in mind there's still about 200 to 300 feet of climbing before reaching the top of Ahab, so if you're already spent and you've already seen enough scenery for one day, you can definitely consider starting Ahab at the cutoff farther down. The name Captain Ahab fits this trail, and not just because it passes by Whale Rock. The flow of this trail undulates between fast and precise descents to short and punchy climbs up sandstone ledges to tight turns between huge boulders. In the novel Moby Dick, the whalers are dragged along on what was referred to as a Nantucket sleigh ride, wherein a harpooned sperm whale drags the small whaleboat along by a harpoon line, trying to dive to safety and threatening to tear the 30-foot boat apart in the process. Riding this trail seems analogous to Herman Melville's description of that experience. This trail is populated by a series of sandstone drops, one after the other, that require either full commitment or total disaster. For a less skilled rider, there is no middle zone between clearing most of the features and walking the bike down. Keep that in mind. I recommend this trail for experienced riders only. I also recommend 160 millimeters of suspension travel. I had to add pressure to my rear shock for this ride to keep from bottoming out. But this isn't a downhill trail either. There are too many climbs for a downhill bike, and there's no way to the top without pedaling anyway. That's what I love about this trail. It's strictly a trail bike trail, and it's one that pushes modern trail bikes and their riders to their limits. It's a challenge no matter what you're riding, and I could come back to this trail over and over and improve every time. But if you are an experienced rider, then you should not leave Moab without riding this trail. I recommend riding it after doing one of the shuttle rides in the area, or do it before a 10:30 shuttle if it's high summer and you're an early riser. The air is dry up here, and even on a 55-degree day, I went through an alarming amount of water. So, fill your Camelback. There's not surface water anywhere out here. Don't count on being able to use your water filter. The air was so dry that the wind blowing across my sweat made my head so cold it gave me a headache. The best part of this trail is the last 400 feet of descent close to the bottom as it hugs the edge of the canyon holding Cane Creek. It gets rough, rowdy, and tight with some welcome variation in features. I loved diving into shaded alcoves and popping out on exposed ledges over the canyon. I loved the sheer pucker factor in this section, that feeling that you could pitch yourself and the bike down into the canyon if you weren't paying attention. There's nothing easy about this trail, and that's what makes it appealing. A note to first-timers about the slick rock around here. It's not really slick, at least not when it's dry. The traction is like nothing I've ever experienced. I felt like I could do things on this surface that I wouldn't dare try on the volcanic basalt that I'm used to riding whenever I encounter exposed rock. Captain Ahab is well built, with blue paint marking the line consistently and a lot of thought put into the flow. The trail builders thoughtfully placed rocks exactly where they need to be to make all the lines work out. This trail is exciting, hard on the bike, and it's hard on the body. But overall, I felt like I could trust this trail. There weren't any oversights or sloppy surprises. It's not just good for a trail that gets this much traffic. It's just a great trail. Period. This alone made the trip to Moab worth it. You'll love it too. Go out there and get yours.